Yo, what's up, beautiful people? So today we have an interesting topic to talk about today, which I hope will benefit you all in becoming better cinematographers, videographers, directors, and storytellers all around. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Okay, so today we're talking about the four main things that I learned while shooting my first documentary slash short film. So, as you all know, this past month, at the end of 2021, I released my first short film slash documentary titled Icon. Now, for those of you who haven't seen it, the card will be right here, so go ahead and check that out. But for those of you who did watch it, you all know that Icon is about a photographer and his creative process when shooting an editorial photo shoot. Now, originally, the idea for Icon sparked like 2 years ago, and we had initially planned to actually travel across the country and possibly internationally. But of course, because of this current world state, those plans kind of fell in shambles, and we had to revamp the video or the idea for the project and reposition some things. And thus, which comes up to my point, to control the things that you can control. So, because of the current world situation, we had to figure out and adjust and pivot our initial idea of traveling to figuring out what location we wanted to go to first, which we thought would be able to capture one, the best imagery for the actual photo shoot, but then two, where we could have the most flexibility when creating different dynamic shots for the actual documentary or short film. And thus we end up choosing a location here in Georgia called Jekyll Island. So thus the idea became, instead of traveling across the country, we would fly a model out, spend the weekend with her shooting both the photo shoot and then also different segments for the actual short film. So being able to reposition and adapt our story helped us a lot, or helped me a lot, mainly because initially we had different interviews set up with different models, different stylists, all of these different items and different aspects of the film, which we initially thought was going to happen, completely didn't, and it was all out of our control. So instead of actually letting the short film or the documentary completely fall off as a dead project, we revamped, came up with a plan B, and went full forward at it. So when shooting your first film or your first documentary, focus on controlling what you can, and the things that you cannot control, just readjust and pivot as needed. So with that, that brings us into our second point, which I think is a great segue to understanding the type of film that you want to create. So initially, like I said, with us traveling, it was supposed to be a docu-series, but instead, since we were only going to have basically one shot at filming Icon, I knew that the style of cinematography or documentary filmmaking that I wanted to do was cinema verite, which is essentially just capturing the story as it unfolds. So before going, I didn't plan any type of shot list, any type of interviews, any type of sit downs with the model. Like literally everything in the film that you saw from start to finish was literally all shot while we were driving down there, or down there actually on location. And that's the true essence of the style of short film or documentary that I was trying to make. Just simply just capturing the story and the talent on camera, and then just allowing the video, or just allowing the film and the story to unravel and unfold and develop all while on camera. So second major tip is definitely understanding the type of film that you want to create. Now, that leads us into our third point, which is very helpful with cinema verite and that style of filmmaking, and that is allowing the scene to breathe. So typically when shooting short form content, if you're like me, typically once I got the shot, I immediately turn off the camera. So I'll plan the shoot in my head, write down all the shots I need, flip the camera on, grab the shot that I need. Once I got it, the camera's off. But when actually shooting a documentary, one in particular that requires the story to completely be told through the camera as it's happening, you have to let the scene breathe. So what I mean by that, so when you're actually filming, instead of just capturing the shot and then immediately turning your camera off, allow the clip to roll for an additional 15 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, or whatever the case may be, to ensure that one, you're capturing the moment, but then also two, to kind of let this scene that you're in kind of develop and let it navigate on its own, rather than you trying to dictate the story by like, oh, I got this shot, now I can link it with this shot, or now that I got this shot, I just need to get this shot. Like, just continuously and constantly just film as much as possible. And I say this mainly for two reasons. One, is so helpful in post when actually editing your film, when developing your tempo and pace for the film, but then also transitioning from clip to clip and, helping piece together that story so it's one cohesive, flowing body of work. And then two, also, it allows you to make sure you're capturing the entire moment, to ensure that you're filming all the key moments necessary to build your story. So again, when you're filming, make sure to allow the scene to breathe and try to film for an additional, 15, 20 seconds instead of just turning the camera off once you have your shot. That brings us to our fourth and final tip, which I had to learn the hard way. And that is, be in the moment. So if you're like me and you're a one-man crew, you're wearing many hats. So I was the DP, I was the cinematographer, I was the audio guy, I was the camera operator, I was the director. All these different, responsibilities that I was trying to make sure was going on. I was trying to do that while filming. And at times it can get very stressful, very overwhelming. But one, you have to trust in yourself. So once you actually set up all of your camera settings, audio settings, no longer should you worry about the gear. As long as everything's on and running and recording, you're good to go. So once you have that done, be in the moment, be aware of what's going on. Pay attention to the surrounding, pay attention to your subject and who your subject's interacting with. Focus on facial expressions, focus on body language, focus on all the potential movements, and try to predict, different scenarios for your talent, whoever your talent is interacting with, the environment that you're in. So that way you're able to, again, capture all those key moments to help you build your story. And the main reason that I say this or recommend this, or how I learned this, was when we were actually out on the beach filming the final bits and pieces of Icon. There's a pivotal moment while we were out there shooting where the talent and the model, so Skrill and Tom Janae, got D-shot, and I completely missed his and her initial reaction to the photo that they took. And that was all because it was very windy outside. I was worried about, different levels, peaking on the lavalier mics. And instead of just trusting that I had initially set everything up properly, I was fumbling around with some audio settings. And although I did record, I missed it. So yeah, again, all of these tips are from my personal experiences, and hopefully now that I'm sharing this information with you all, you can avoid these mistakes and, have a successful shoot. So those are my 4 tips. Those are the 4 things that I learned while shooting my first short film, my first documentary. If this video was helpful for you in any type of way, please leave the video a like, so that way it's able to get to a larger audience and also help others become better cinematographers, storytellers, storytellers, and better videographers all around, because that's what we're here for at the end of the day. And also, if you aren't subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so, and also maybe turn on the notification bell so that way you're notified and a part of Noti Gang when these videos go live. And I upload other tutorials, vlogs, documentaries, shorts, rants, podcasts, or whatever the case may be. But until next time, peace. Hopefully our key moments that help